Hey yo, and welcome to episode 14 of Limitless. Today we got a real special episode for you. We're gonna be working on these Michigan bowls, and we're gonna end up raffling away this particular bowl to one of the commenters. So stay tuned, we'll have some more details on that coming out. But I've been pretty busy trying to get set up for my Etsy store so I can actually sell some of the stuff that I've been making videos on and kind of cross-link between them and maybe do some cross-posting and all that. But I got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline, so sorry it's been a little while since I made a video. But today, focused on these bowls and also making a fixture to do a batch setup to make a bunch of these bowls, and trying to get away from having to do a bunch of sanding. So getting my fixtures dialed in, my programs dialed in, and hopefully in the end getting a product that can just go right out the door coming off the CNC.
Listen, I've been just chillin'. Spent years spinning my wheels and searching for a villain. For real, all I needed was a rhythm, a beat, a cell phone, a notebook, a feeling, a reason to relax, rushing through the past, anxious to the max. So, this bowl is a pretty complex geometry, which not only makes the design process more difficult, but also producing each bowl is rather time consuming. However, in the end, the finished bowl is an intriguing shape, especially to native residents or Michigangsters. Watching this episode back now, I'm realizing I need to design the Upper Peninsula so I can have a match set. Plus, I'm originally from Wisconsin, so I need to design that, and Minnesota, Alaska, Colorado, California, Oregon, Texas. Basically every state needs its own bowl. Anyway, I started this out by sketching around a screenshot from Google Maps. I then offset a plane 3 inches down and started sketching a smaller, simplified version of the state's outline. I sketched some guide curves to control the boundary surface inside of SolidWorks. I then tried a few different ways to thicken the surface, turn it into a solid, or create a shell. I ended up cutting the solid with an offset of the surface and then bringing it into Blender for some smoothing. For me, this type of smoothing is reminiscent of sanding. This little bit of human touch can really make or break your design. I am finding that I want my final designs to be nearly perfect, but not quite. I'm really starting to enjoy taking an equation-driven surface and essentially simulating a more weathered look. Once I end up with a shape I like, I take the STL into DesignX to create the flip fixture. I then began hogging a bowl from a 3-inch thick slab of pine I had laying around. The flip fixture allows me to locate the second setup after my origin corner has been machined away. After roughing with a flat end mill and contouring with a ball end mill, I finished sanding the bowl by hand. Once I was happy with the surface finish, I used my laser to engrave my logo on the bottom. This first bowl came out very thin, and so I decided to do some experimentation with colored epoxy. Around this time, I got the idea for doing a commenter giveaway, but I realized that this first bowl did not come out good enough for the giveaway. So I started work on a new bowl, utilizing the leftover scraps from a butcher's block countertop that was given to me. I had to do a little glue up, so my stock would end up being 3 inches thick. I also offset the inner surface so the finished bowl would have a 1/2 inch wall thickness. After machining, I flush trimmed the bowl on the router table and did some final sanding by hand before finishing the butcher's block Michigan bowl with a coat of cutting board oil. I then began programming a batch setup of 6 smaller bowls. The run time on a 3-inch thick bowl is relatively long, so I scaled the bowl down to fit inside some rough sawn 2-inch solid oak. I made a 6-bowl flip fixture, and thus the medium bowl was born. I recently got a couple gimbals to play with for recording more action shots. One of them does the facial tracking, but I could not configure it to follow the moving router. But This picture of Ron Swanson worked in a pinch. Here I am flipping the bowls over and nesting them in my fixture. The goal is to control all 6 degrees of freedom after all the flat surfaces are machined away. This allows the second setup to line up perfectly with the first. I'm using hot glue to retain the bowls, but I'm also using painter's tape so the glue will release easily once the machining is complete. In the end, I think they came out great. Keep an eye out for my Etsy store to go live in the next couple weeks. I'm currently working on some 3D printed, laser cut, and molded products to join the Michigan Bowls. And as always, stay tuned for the next episode.